So we're going to graph this piecewise function here. This piecewise function is made up of two linear expressions. We've got 2x plus 3 and 3 minus x. Because they're straight lines, we don't really need to worry about finding anything more than 2 points, and we can connect those 2 points and determine our line. I like to make one of the points at this endpoint here. So if I look at -1, at -1, we've got 2 times -1 plus 3, which is -2 plus 3. That's going to be 1. So this is going to end at the point -1, 1, and it's going to be an open circle at -1, 1, because this is not defined at 1, or -1 here. I'm going to pick any other point less than -1 and see what that looks like. So why not -3? Okay, so at -3, if I use this top expression, I've got -6 plus 3. So we're looking at -3. So the point -3 is on my graph. And if I connect them with the straight line, I put an arrow going in this direction, it's showing me that this expression right here is making this part of the graph. It's got an open circle here because we're not defining it at -1. -1 is my boundary point. I would not graph any of this red line beyond -1. For x greater than -1, now we're using the second expression. Again, I'm going to look at what's happening at -1. At -1, we would be at 3 plus 1, we'd be at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This time we've got a closed circle because we do want to define this piece of the graph at -1, okay, with the equal sign underneath there. And I'm going to pick another point along here. Let's go with 3. 3 would be really easy to choose. I go 3 minus 3 and get 0. So when x is equal to 3, we're at 0. And again, we have a linear function, so I'm going to draw the straight line that goes through those 2 points. So I've drawn each piece of my graph. You can see that there's this clear cutoff at 1. It's a function. I don't want it to be defined in 2 different places at x equals -1. Now there's some other types of functions that you are going to come across as part of this process today. Let's say that I had f of x equals, and then I was defining it to be 3 for x less than 2. And let's say I'm defining it to be -1 for x greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so these are also straight lines, but they're going to just be horizontal lines. So for values of x that are less than 2, we're going to be at 3 the entire time. So if I mark this off here, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to have, again, my open circle here at 2, and it's going to be 3 the entire time. For x that are greater than 2, we're looking at -1. So down here at -1, we're going to have a closed circle at 2, and we're going to draw the graph going to the right. The other type of expression that you're going to see here is a quadratic with a parabola. And just some reminders of that. If you have regular old x squared is going to be a parabola that opens up. It's got its vertex at 0, 0. Okay? If I've got -x squared, we've got a parabola that opens down.